This is the greatest story ever written, ever, that I've ever heard while riding in the Suburban.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to.
In this tale of trouble, torment, and terrific laughter, Paul and I will try to relate to you the events that took place one great day at the Lundgren Otten campout. These days were usually filled with happy delights and fun times. This story, however, didn't end well at all. One glorious day, Paul, my brother Tony, my sister Amy, Paul's brother Andrew, and my cousin Emily decided to go fishing. This fishing trip was going to be exciting. No parents were allowed to come with us, so it was not only going to be delicious, but also rebellious.
Now hold on! Even though Greg is a smart lad, he sometimes has these things called brain farts. He gets them periodically from now and then. His story might be true at some points, but this is how the story happened to me. This series of events happened when I was but a wee little lad, around the age of 7. The Otten family and my family went on a vacation to Wisconsin. On the way up, we had an assortment of things to do. The thing that me and Greg did most of the time was to play cat's cradle in the back seat. This might sound kind of awkward for two little boys to be playing, but our cat's cradle was a muddle of fists thrown and some name calling. I do believe that I won in the end, but don't tell Greg that.
That's horse hockey.
Once we arrived to the cabins, the children frolicked around the open fields. In this field was a refrigerator that contained, not pop, but leeches. We all found our favorite one and named them. But now came the serious part. In the afternoon, it started to get misty, and my mom told me that I had to get my rain gear on. I came out, and everybody laughed at me because I looked like a large Paddington bear in his little rain outfit. We went, all the children, out to the floating dock in the river.
Now wait a minute, my side's better. So we all gathered our poles and strode onward and outward towards the raging river that we were all going to become acquainted with very well, very soon. The day was filled with hilarity and also huge fish. We pulled out massive objects like boots, bears, and bananas, oh my, and bars of gold from the river. The bananas and gold were completely expected, but the boots? Come on, who does that anymore? Throwing boots into a river, that's just silly. Just then, out of nowhere, Paul decided to be a genius.
Just 1 second! I decided it was a good idea to try and get my lure to the other side of the river because everyone knows that all of the large fish were on the far side of the river. So I yelled, "Hey everybody! I'm going to cast as far as I can."
Hey everybody! I'm going to cast as far as I can! With one great stride he pulled back his rod and prepared his body for the cast he was about to perform. His arm drew back, his body tensed up, and his head went down as he noticed he was floating in the air. The genius had stepped right off the edge of the dock.
I started to back up and let my arm go from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It never reached 10. The heel of my boots had gone over the edge of the dock. I plummeted to the bottom. My Paddington gear sucked up all of the water, and I sank like a stone. I yelled, "Greg, take my pole. It is more important to my dad than me."
Now hold on here! By the time he had realized his folly, it was far too late. His eyes grew to the size of dinner plates, and his embarrassment grew as well, as we all noticed that he had wet his pants. Falling into a river will do that.
That's not right.
Just 1 minute, you! So there he was, smack dab in the middle of a river, looking at us all like we were supposed to help him. My sister, being a kind person, leapt to the rescue. "Help him!" she screamed.
Are you stupid or something? Greg's sister, Amy, who knew the life rescuing techniques of the Eskimos. She saved my life that day, but she couldn't save the life of my boots.
Quit being stupid.
Now wait a minute.
Your story sucks. Emily, my cousin, joined in the rescue and tried to pull him out. Tony and Andrew leapt to the rescue also, holding the girls from going into the water. Then, as if the Lord himself had sent a sign for me to help this poor soul Paul. He looked at me, his eyes glowing with fear. He looked to me and screamed, "Take my pole! Save my pole!" I was too scared, and remained on my post as steadily as a mountain remains watchful of the world. Suddenly, the entire pack of people pulling Paul from the pool of pure precipitation fell into the water. They were all stuck in the raging rapids, and I was the only one left. They all looked up to me and said, "Go get help." I ran, and I ran, but to no avail. So I summoned my mighty powers, and forced the water out of the river, and saved all of the maroon people from certain peril. And in the end, we all went back to the cabin to relax and eat ice cream. Nah, that's not right.
It's time to run the Barracuda! Everybody do now! Do what big? Come on and do the Barracuda!
I miss those boots. They were black with red writing on them. I love those boots. My brother and Tony Otten said they would get them back for me. They didn't, so I slit their throats. To this day, I go back there every summer and search for my boots. What did the boots ever do to anyone that God, small g, had to take them from my life? They were like Hermes' magic sandals. They allowed me to fly anywhere I want. I miss those boots. The end.